well, I was able to get the day off from work, so I figured, why not talk about Superman that's coming out in about a month or two from now. So, as of the time I'm recording this, I figured this is just a video I recorded for quite some time. I didn't know when to post it, so I just decided to post it now. Just because, a lot of people have been, kind of, you know, asking me, like, why have I been hyped up for the new Superman movie specifically? Obviously we got the new Fantastic Four coming out and Jurassic Park, and then after that we got, well, not after that, I believe Jurassic Park comes out first, then Superman the next week, and then Fantastic Four the following week near the end of July. And I figured I'd just talk about why this movie in particular, Superman, is what I'm talking about, why this means so much to me and why I hope it succeeds. It's not going to be a jokey video like the Minecraft review that I did. I just decided to do this because I figured, why not? This was a video I wanted to do, and even though I've been working on the Minecraft review, this was something I decided to record after it, and I just didn't know when to post it, I guess you can say. So, anyway, I just figured I'd talk about this really briefly. I don't want to make this super long or anything. So, first of all, obviously, the main reason why I want this movie to succeed, it's the fact that Superman for me is actually like it's not only just a good superhero, in my humble opinion, I just also really like the character. And on top of that, it's also quite personal for me because this was the very first superhero movie I've ever seen, ever. Like, Spider-Man, I didn't see until I was much older. Well, much older being like maybe a couple years older than I did seeing Superman, but after Spider-Man, then it just moved on to Marvel, and then I got into the MCU films, and then obviously I went from there. And I got into the comic books. But where this all stemmed from, my love for the superhero genre in general, stems from Superman. And it really just comes from, my dad introducing Superman to me. This was my very first introduction to the superhero genre. And for me, this is why I've always loved DC Comics in general. I just loved their stories, because after Superman naturally came, believe it or not, the Adam West Batman series I got really into at that time, and specifically, it's going to be a weird location when I first watched it. It was at our cabin in Red Feather Lakes. That's where ultimately I watched a majority of the superhero movies, believe it or not. But for me, Superman was that very first one, and I don't know, just something about it just really spoke with me. Not only is Superman just a very good character in general, but I've always really liked his films, even the lesser films. Like, I've seen the animated ones, the animated DC films that they did that somehow is a successful universe than the entire DCEU. Somehow that's a possibility. They made an animated universe that rivals the MCU, in my opinion. I think some of their movies surpass some of the Marvel movies that have come out recently. Not only that, his live action movies are also really good. Obviously, the Christopher Reeve first two movies I really thoroughly enjoy, and why I really love the character. Obviously, Superman 3 and Superman 4, those ones are not as good. Safe to say they're considered some of the worst movies of all time, but in my opinion, I do not care, because I just like the character of Superman to begin with, that even though those movies are crap, I still like the character, and they are comic booky, so I kind of just let it go. Plus, I watched those when I was like a, dumb little kid and was none the wiser, and I liked 4 Transformer movies, so you can't really blame my question in cinematic quality when I watched those movies for the first time. Obviously, Man of Steel, and this is the thing, I'm also going to give my opinion on the DCEU real quick and what I thought of Henry Cavill's Superman, because I really liked him as Superman. I know a lot of people really wanted him back, and I know a lot of people online are complaining that he should be back, he should always be Superman, but I'm just going to rip the band-aid off and just say it. Get over it. Henry Cavill's not coming back. That's the end of the line. As much as I hate saying it, and as much as I hate Warner Brothers for replacing him after teasing his return and then 2 weeks later cutting him off, I agree with you. Henry Cavill, for me, is a really good Superman. But it was, I feel like, a time for a change because the DCEU just got really messy, really convoluted. They didn't have a direction, and the direction they went with was super. And even though DC Comics have been known to be dark and gritty and more, grounded and more mature than Marvel movies and Marvel Comics in general, I still liked whenever, especially the Superman character, I still liked when they made Superman that humble, lighthearted character. And I feel like the DCEU, because they focus so much on the darkness, even though I really love Man of Steel, it's now hard for me to enjoy it because of the DC fanboys, and on top of that, it's very dark. I get the criticisms. I get the arguments on everything wrong with that movie. But for me, I see Man of Steel as just an entertaining summer movie that I just shut my brain off for 2.5 hours and go like, you know what? Screw it. I like Superman. Henry Cavill's a good Superman, not a good Clark Kent. Yes, I said it. He doesn't look like a thing like Clark Kent. If anything, it just looks like Superman putting on glasses, which is not the point. Even though that's kind of the jokes we've been going with the past, God knows how long they've been going on for. And that's kind of ultimately why I made this video. I'm not gonna, say I'm a, James Gunn fanboy, and I'm not gonna bash Zack Snyder because both directors have their strengths and weaknesses. And I get it. I'm just as equally upset that Henry Cavill got shafted with Superman. Again, I really am upset about that. But the DC Universe really needed a change. And for me, after seeing the teaser for Superman, it really feels like they're trying to bring things back to basics. And what I really appreciate about that is the fact that they're not trying to go in with no plan and actually trying to map something out. And I feel like James Gunn actually understands. I'm not saying that Zack Snyder doesn't understand the characters of DC. I'm not their representative or anything. I'm just a Z-list YouTuber that's bottom of the barrel that gets 7 views every 30 days he posts a video. So by no means am I like a representative of those two, but I am trying to also just bring this out there to the world and just essentially just say, get over it. We are getting a new DC universe, and we're getting a new Superman. Is it going to be good? That's up for debate, but you know what? From what I've seen with James Gunn's previous films, what he did with the Guardians films, I'm really hopeful for this. I really want this film to succeed. I don't want this to fail. I don't want this to flounder. I want DC to have a universe that rivals Marvel. Unfortunately, especially in this day and age with superhero fatigue, I feel like it's finally coming in a weird sort of way. It's slowly getting there, and it's creeping even closer than ever, and I feel like it might be too little too late, but I really hope this movie succeeds enough to give DC that push to finally create a universe that just, tells a complete story like the MCU. Even though they kind of did that with their animated universe, I feel like the DC never had a chance to succeed with Marvel. And I feel like Superman is the step in the right direction. And like I said, with this character in particular, the way, David Corenswet, the actor playing Superman, the way he's being portrayed, the way he's, shown in every single advertisement, for me, he really embodies what Superman is about. Every single time I have seen footage in theaters, on the internet, on TV of Superman, I can't help but get a little bit, get goosebumps and get a little bit, have a little lump in my throat because it reminds me when I was a kid. This is what I grew up with. My dad showed me Superman when I was young, and it was the very first superhero movie I've ever seen, period. Before Spider-Man, before Iron Man, before anything else, Superman was the very first one. Even before Batman, Superman was the one. And I feel like for me that makes it extra special, and it really feels like they're bringing back those basics from the old Christopher Reeve movies just to bring back that charm, that energy, and just kind of update it. And kind of bring back those comics lore, especially, from All-Star Superman. I know that was like a big, basically like blueprint for this movie coming out. And I really hope that's the case. So far from what I've seen, it seems like the more than likely case. But I really want this to succeed. Specifically, I know Fantastic Four will make its money, and same with Jurassic World, which is somehow on its 7th movie. I don't know how Jurassic World is going strong, and I am excited to see those movies. Especially Fantastic Four. That's another movie, another franchise that I've really grown to love. Especially with Marvel, when I got introduced to Spider-Man, and then eventually Iron Man, then the MCU going forward, I got into their comic books, and then it was just kind of a back and forth between DC and Marvel, and I did get introduced to those. But for me, Superman specifically, I hope this one succeeds more than Jurassic World and Fantastic Four. Not saying that those two movies also shouldn't succeed, I'm just hoping Superman specifically gets the boost that it desperately needs so we can finally just have a win for DC and actually get a decent universe. Because it's sad to me the fact that people are looking forward to the same Marvel movie. I'm not saying that Fantastic Four will do anything bad or anything. I mean, I don't know. The movie hasn't even come out. And from what I've seen, it looks really good. But it's also Marvel from Disney. Is it something that we've seen before? More than likely. With Superman, yeah, it might be something we've seen before, but it also can be, a superhero new generations can look up to. And also, I want this to be a movie that I bring my dad to, because I'm now a 22-year-old adult. Well, I'm rounding up a little bit, but I'm now an adult. I grew up with Superman when I was like yay big, maybe like 5 years old. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember being young enough seeing Superman, and it was like life-changing. I loved it. Loved every single minute of it. And I feel like when I see this movie in theaters with my dad, it's gonna be even more powerful in my opinion. Man of Steel aside, DCEU aside, I really want this movie to succeed. Anyway, I know this is going on a lot longer than I anticipated. I'll apologize for that. You know me, I like to ramble, but that's all I wanted to bring upon. Nothing fancy, no special funny clips or memes, just me ranting in front of a camera. So, make of that what you will. Please be respectful in the comments, because I know a lot of people do not, and that's what's also just kind of disappointing, is the fact that not a whole lot of people are looking forward to this. I guess I'm the only one looking forward to it, but that's just me, Mouth is dry because of all the allergies. So, just so I can pop another cough drop in my mouth and get going on my nap, so I can recoup. That's about it. See ya.